New Venture Lab, this is the assignment walkthrough for assignment number 18, 3-year financial model version 1. So the document that we're going to be using here, the template that we'll be using here, is something that you're going to be seeing recurring throughout the remainder of the semester. This is where we're really going to get inside the meat and potatoes of exactly what it means to be able to scale and actually be able to show that on paper, and what it's going to take to get there. This will include assumptions, working those assumptions into actually putting like numeric value to those assumptions. Is going to be pretty good. So a few things. First of all, I highly recommend watching this entire walkthrough video. If you don't, I'm guessing you're probably going to get a little bit lost at certain points. So therefore, very important to watch this video. Okay, there's examples here: service example, software example, physical product example. These are not exhaustive. I think the one that's filled out the most is the software example, but not every single detail is included in these examples. This is just to get started, and so is this assignment. So when you get into the downloading the template for this assignment, we will not be doing everything. Okay, we're just going to be doing the parts that are listed here. That is the revenue streams, item descriptions, assumptions, and number of units sold. So in all reality, we're not asking for a whole lot here on this first one, and then we're just going to keep building this a little bit each week. Okay. Ultimately, you're going to only edit white cells, and any cells that are have color are meant to stay as is. So be sure to not be editing anything other than only that which is white. Okay, the formulas are set up very carefully in order to be able to do this in the easiest way possible. Okay, so if you do end up having a problem with your spreadsheet, it's probably the best move is probably just to re-download the template and start over. Most likely that is your best move if you get stuck at any point. So if I download the required template here, I'll download it actually, and then hopefully it just opens up for me nice and easy. Okay, so you might have lost me, but that's okay. That way you can actually see the whole thing anyway. So for this assignment, all that we're going to be doing is we're going to be filling out the revenue streams here. Okay. So that is the white. That is the white parts. Okay. So you can think back to the item economics assignment that we just did on the last assignment. So what would you sell it for? What's it going to cost to actually produce it? And then what is the labor cost? Okay, per each unit. At any point, you might have something that's zero. So for example, if I am selling a software, I'm probably going to leave out the cost of goods and cost of labor. That's okay for now. Okay, we'll come back to it later, and we'll determine whether or not it's a variable cost or a fixed cost. But for now, if it's a software, you might not need cost of goods or cost of labor. If it is a service, and you are performing the service, then you might only need to list the cost of goods, and that might include the amount to to drive, if there's anything that goes into actually delivering the service, that would be something that you would include here. The cost of labor, like if it was you delivering it, would probably be zero because you're maybe not charging, yourself, right? And then finally, a physical product would be what does it cost to manufacture the product at the individual item level? And then are we being charged for labor? It could be that the cost for labor is actually included in the cost for goods if we're a physical product. So in which case you could still leave the labor alone and just fill out the cost of goods. Okay? So again, you can check those examples, the 3 different examples that are listed in the assignment description. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to list items. What are we going to sell? So if it's a software, maybe monthly subscriptions, annual subscriptions, add-ons. If we're selling physical products, maybe it's a premium water bottle, it's stickers, it's maybe a travel case or something like that. Okay. If it is a service, maybe it is initial meeting, recurring monthly meetings, different packages that we might include for whatever, if it's a consulting type service, or if we're like an auto detailer, maybe it'd be like monthly, maybe it'd be like one-time appointment, monthly subscription, and so forth. Okay, and we'll include this here. If you don't have 5, perfectly fine. You might probably have more than one to be able to test different revenue streams. But if you only have one, that's going to be okay. That's going to be okay. This is more to just really thoroughly understand this. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is the revenue scaling assumptions. So I don't always love projections because the truth is that there are always a lot of assumptions involved. But it's very important to actually list those assumptions here. Okay, this is where you can look at the examples, the service, software, and physical product examples for what the assumptions were. Like something like, for example, we will spend 20% of our revenue on marketing, and this will create new users. Users will create new users. We will grow at 50. We will grow. Our user base will double each month for the first 6 months, and then after that, it will increase by 20%. Meta ads will lead to the landing page, which will lead to the software. Or if it's a service, for example, repeat customers will continue to book services. Repeat customers will create new customers. Physical product might be customers will create new customers. Viral marketing will create traffic to the landing page, which will convert to visitors into purchasers. And then the one I love the most is the landing page will convert visitors to customers, which is pretty great. Okay, so you list 10. So again, you don't have to, you just have to do at least the unit sale here, at least one item here. But if we can get all the way to 10 here, that would be really good, okay? Maybe you end up having more than 10, but we just want to put 10 here, okay? The next and the last thing that we do for this assignment is going to be each month. So if we're selling like subscriptions, let's say we started with 10, 20, 40, 80, 120, 120, 240, 360, and so forth. So this is where a little bit we're taking those assumptions and we're looking at how it is that we could scale. What you really want to get to is as you put in numbers here, you'll see these numbers down here change. Okay. What we'd really love to see is in 2029, that is year 3, that you are at least net profit margin, or your net profit is $1 million. Okay, we'd like to be able to see you get to a 7-figure business. That way you're able to pay yourself a decent salary, and you're able to maybe start to hire employees, and you start to be able to automate the process. If your business is making less than $1 million a year, then it's really, really hard to automate things. Okay, it's really hard to scale further. But once you hit like the threshold of like $1 million a year, this is where you can cut yourself a livable wage, a livable salary here in the Southwest Florida area, and you can continue to scale the business in the ways that it needs to. But certainly by year 3, we want to see at least $1 million. So if you are doing this and by year 3 it says like $35,000, that's kind of okay for this first submission, and then I'll give some feedback and we'll talk about how it is that we can get to that $1 million mark in like on the 3rd year. But really you want to be thinking about that. How can we get to $1 million a year? Okay. Now those are the only things that you need to include for this assignment for now. Okay. That is all that is required here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to, just to reiterate that, I'm going to pop this back open wherever my assignment went. Oh no. See all these recordings I have on the back of the screen? Let's see here. Where did I go? Well, you might be missing me, but that's okay. So we're familiar with where we're at here. Once again, just to reiterate, and then I'm going to walk through the rest of this in case it is that you'd like to work ahead. So at this point, just check this out before clicking out of this video, and that would be this. Just to reiterate, what is required is that revenue streams, which is here, revenue streams, boom, see? Item description, so you, what is the items being sold, and then revenue scaling assumptions here, and then finally the number of units sold, and that is across here. And that's all we have to worry about for this assignment. Again, we're never going to touch anything that's not the white cells. Okay, so that's all that is required for version 1. Okay, I'll walk through the rest of it just in case it is that you'd like to work ahead. you are not required to. Okay, so after you've done these 4 things, boom, 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 the next thing to do would be to figure out what is our expenses. Variable expenses and fixed expenses. Again, those variable expenses are the things that change on the regular basis. So examples of these would be the staffing expense. Are we hiring staff? Equipment expense. Do we need equipment in order to be able to produce our software, service, or product? And then what is the percentage of the revenue that it is that we are using on ads, on marketing? Okay, I sometimes will say somewhere around like 20-25%, but you could be more aggressive, particularly in the first year or 2. Okay, so that's variable expenses. Okay, and then we would enter those things in on each month and be able to create that calculation. We'd put a description down here, and then it becomes shorthand. So like our marketing might be like meta ads. Okay, and then up here, marketing expense or marketing percent of revenue, you could just think of that as shorthand for meta ads. Okay, equipment expense, that might be like manufacturing cost. Okay, and that would be something that we would consider to be again shorthand. Up here would be the shorthand. We enter those things in. Okay, now the fixed expenses, maybe it'd be like domain, dedicated IP address, email hosting, CRM, all the different things that it is that we are always paying consistently each month. It's possible that those never change and we get to that like 7-figure position over in 2029, and meanwhile our expenses are still only like a few $100s a month, and that would be a great thing to see. Okay, and so similarly, we would put expense number 1, let's just say that is domain, okay? And then now when I go back over here, it's not gonna change, but it's gonna, I'll know, so I can always reference, okay, expense 1 is domain, okay? And then that is $25 a month, every month for all 3 years, okay? And then startup costs, that's actually going to be, that actually just kind of stays down here. But that's where these are the things that you're going to have to pay like right off the bat at the very beginning. So for example, maybe it is that you needed to buy a $30,000 machine in order to be able to develop what it is you're developing, or maybe it is that you had a contract with a software developer that was going to be like handing off like a completed software to you. Or someone who is going to train you to do the service, maybe get a certification or so forth. Those would be 3 different examples of startup costs. But again, those are something that just like happens at the very beginning. And you might do something like the Runway program to get some seed funding in order to be able to pay for those. Okay. But yeah, that's pretty much what this is. And it's a living document. You always keep updating it as you go along and continue to optimize what it is that you are offering and what it is that is all included in your business model. Okay, but one more time for this assignment, the only thing that's required is the revenue streams here, the item description here, the revenue scaling assumptions here, and the number of units sold here. Okay, that's all that you need to include in this assignment, and then the expenses you can leave blank for now, and we will come back to them probably next week. Hint, hint. Okay, reach out if you could use any help, if you have any questions whatsoever. And don't make it harder than it is, okay? It's not actually that difficult. So, but reach out if you have any questions, and I am here and happy to help. Okay, best. Bye.